Hey everyone. So I run an AI lead generation agency doing anywhere from 8 to 15K per month. And today I just want to talk about how I conduct my discovery process. Essentially, what questions to ask, what information to get from your client in order for you to understand whether you want to work with them or not. And this is not as complicated as many people on YouTube would make it seem to you. So I just wanted to quickly give you an overview of exactly what to ask and what to understand in order for you to make a decision on the call. And typically, whenever you want to have, some idea of whether you want to work with a client or not, you do it in like 1 to 3 phases. um, and those phases are essentially levels of information about their client's business, their goals, their exact problems, the exact things that they want your help with. And once you have this information, you can either do two things. You can do either like guide them. um, One is guide them in a way that offer guide them in a way that makes the transition from discovery to pitch smooth, right? And the second thing is either you just say that they are not a good fit. And I know that it sounds ridiculous that you're going to be turning off, like just turning away a potential client who wants to pay you money. But this can happen if you know your filter for example calendar links, or if you are doing some kind of lead generation for yourself, probably running some kind of ads. Many leads will be people looking for things that do not make sense for you to provide, and people looking for services that you actually do not provide, but they still want booked a call because they were scrolling on Instagram and they just saw something that they found interesting and they just booked a call. So many times, like, this is unpredictable. It depends on how good your offer is, how good your ads are, or how good your email is, like email copy is, or email offer is, to understand how much of these tire kickers, as they say in the industry, will land in your pipeline, in your calendar. But it does happen. So either of two things will be done whenever you conduct a discovery process. And I know that most of us would like to get deals done as soon as possible, but it's not possible without doing a thorough discovery process. And I do it in like 4 steps. So, step one, so let me change the color. Step one is, I don't know, I like playing with colors here. Step one is essentially asking them, why did they book a call? So this is a mixture of two things. One is understanding their business, and the other is understanding their pain. And understanding their business is important, so let's talk about both of them. Understanding their business is important because you don't want to commit to securing leads. In this case, you're running a lead generation agency, so you don't want to be committing to securing leads for a business who you probably cannot, or you'll feel hesitant doing that, or their offer is some kind of their offer is not exactly something that you're comfortable with, or you do not have experience in, or it could be anything, right? So you want to understand their business. For example, it could be an e-commerce ad agency for whom you want to secure leads, more leads, so more e-com brands in their pipeline, more leads to whom they can pitch their ads management, or media buying offer. So you want to understand if these are the kinds of businesses that you want to work with, and these are the people who are actually providing these ads for e-commerce brands, so that you can generate more e-com brands in their pipeline. If this company is, for example, doing something else, or if this is a company doing some kind of e-commerce product themselves, then this is not a good AI lead gen offer, right? Like, commodities are not sold via email. Commodities are sold via ads, or content, or stuff like that, right? What you sell via email is essentially like two things, and this is going a little bit over, out of the scope of this video, but you sell two things with email. You sell services, or you sell, what else do you sell? You sell bundled offers. Like, so bundled offers meaning like 3 month or 6 month contracts about a certain package. For example, you can sell bundle leads like 30 leads per month, and you can sell a 6 month offer upfront. So it's like literally written in the contract that you're going to be providing them 30 into 6 versus 180 leads in 6 months. And that's like a bundled offer. It's kind of a service based offer, but it's still a commodity, commodity of a service. So it's not exactly an e-com brand product. It's a commodity of a service. And the first thing is service. Obviously, you're providing some kind of ads. It's an ads agency, or it's an accounting firm, or it's an cleaning a commercial cleaning service, or stuff like that, right? Those are the offers that actually work over cold email. So the difference between services and bundled offers is essentially how much predictable are these two things. So services are not exactly predictable, right? You can guarantee like 30 leads a month, but if it's not over a period of time, you can say that it's a service, and you're going to be managing everything, and you have to manage expectations for your clients, right? You'll have to make sure that if it's a slow month, if there's instead of 30 leads, you're only able to secure like 18 leads, you're not actually getting an angry client telling them, asking you like where's the rest of the leads, right? And bundled offers is essentially, you don't talk to the client too much. You just sell them leads on a regular basis. For example, every Tuesday you give them like 10 leads, and like this cycle repeats every single Tuesday, or something like that, right? So these are the two kinds of offers. You can bundle them together. You can consider them the same thing. I don't, because bundled offers are kind of commoditized versions of services, not exactly a commodity like a physical product or something, but they are still slightly different than services. So I consider them different. So coming back to number one, asking them why did they book a call is essentially understanding their business. So what did they do? For example, here, let me just write it, and it's an example. An e-commerce ad agency. And understanding the business is essentially like 5 or 6 different questions, right? So what is what does their business do? The second is, what does their business secure leads from? How does their business secure leads from? And why are they what are they looking for? What are they looking for? So it doesn't have to be like a long discussion. This can happen in less than 10 minutes. Once you start asking them about their uh, exactly why did they book a call, you can literally bundle these 3 questions together. So sometimes a business owner will start talking about their business and answer all of these 3 questions together. So you have to judge the situation and understand exactly what they want. So they can say that what they're looking for exactly in the first sentence of them talking to you, or they can they'll need some prompting. So they can either say it up front, just one prompt, and they're ready to spill every secret there. And they can either, and some prompting meaning you'll have to ask them a little bit, you'll have to go manually a little bit deeper, a step deeper every time they give you a answer that is not fully, that doesn't fully display the exact picture of what is happening in their business. So when we understand their business, for example, in my case, I'm providing lead gen to marketing agencies and PR agencies. This is my agency. So in this case, I'm providing lead gen to marketing agencies, and I provide anywhere from 10 to 20, even more leads a month. The first thing I do is understand their business. So understanding that this is the kind of business I want to work with, and then understanding their pain. So why do I just mess up the spelling so much? Okay. Understanding their pain is essentially asking like 3 or 4 different questions. So what is their source of leads? So this is kind of answered in this phase, but you can mix and match, doesn't matter. What is their source of leads? Why is it not working for them currently? And some business owners will literally tell you upfront that they need your service, they need predictable lead generation, and you can literally just see that they're ready to buy. Like, it's like a buying signal, right? And some people will tell you that no, everything's fine, everything's perfect, like nothing's wrong in their business. So why are they on the call, right? So it's like you have to dig deeper into the pain and prompt them properly in order to understand what's happening. So once you do that, you'll arrive at a conclusion that you know they're generating leads through, let's say, word of mouth, right? Or referrals. That's like one of the um, primary sources of most agencies. In my case, I help marketing agencies grow, and over a certain period of time, if they worked with like 5+ clients, they'll have some referral coming in every single month, right? On a consistent basis. So some business owners will try to actually defend that their referrals are coming in nicely and they do not have any kind of pain. But if they do not have any pain, they will not be talking to you right here on the call. So you have to dig deeper into the second phase, which is understanding why is it not working for them. And that will be some form of answer like, um, I do not have some, like in January I had 0 referrals, in February I had 3. So business is like kind of ebb and flow, like a sine curve, like I wish I could show it, but yeah, it's like yeah, I can't show it. It's weird. Scalera is weird, but it's like a sine curve essentially. I can show it to you. Yeah, it's like 1 month it's high. There's so many referrals coming in that they don't know what to do with it, and in some ways, and in some months, in some weeks, there's like literally nothing in their pipeline and no calls on the calendar, and they literally have to call people in their network in order to get more leads or get more business essentially. So you have to get them to speak about it, otherwise they will never buy from you. So this is like one of the most important parts of doing discovery, and it's a little bit painful if you have done it only like less than 10 times or something, and you have to quickly learn that this is exactly how you approach it with different clients. And you start reading people's faces, you start reading people's like buying languages and objection languages, all these things when you start doing this. And it's a sales process. And the more you do it, the more you learn. This skeleton that I'm speaking about to you right now is essentially like a rough diagram that I received from my mentor, and I'm giving it to you for free, so you can just use it in your own business, in your own use case, for whoever you're generating leads or doing whatever kind of lead gen. It's not limited to cold email, cold outbound. It can be ads as well. So why is it not working for them, and how urgent is it for them to solve this problem? So once you make them speak about their problem and why exactly they are on this call and what they're looking for, you can ask them like point blank that how quickly do they want a solution. Do they want it this week, this month, next month, whatever? And once you do that, you'll have an idea of, okay, this is a good lead. So you have understood their business. This is a good lead. This is a good guy, and you'll see some certain characteristics in the way they talk, the way they understand what you are saying, the way they answer your questions, and the way they interpret stuff in their brain, and the words they speak. You'll kind of understand if you're not desperate enough to win the deal. You'll understand exactly what kind of person they are, like what kind of a human being they are, and you'll internally get a signal as to whether you want to work with them or not. And the goal here is to work long term with any given client. You do not want a client churning after like 3 months, right? You want him to be working at least like 6 to 12 months, 12 months on like at the minimum. And if this happens, like you have a very healthy business, very healthy agency, right? So once you have these 3 questions, the thing that we want to do next is essentially um, understand. So I did tell you that the number one guide is essentially discovery to pitch. So discovery is essentially so the first thing is asking them to book a call. The second thing is uh, actually, let's change the color. Why not, right? Asking them about their revenue. So state of the business. So once you've understood their business and you know exactly what you want out of, you have some kind of idea as to what they're looking for, you want to qualify them. And by qualifying, I mean you need to know exact numbers from their business. So what you want to ask is, and you do not have to essentially pile all of these numbers on top of each other and just ask it in a one single big question that the person in front of you just doesn't understand over Zoom or Google Meet, and it's just a mess. You do not have to do that. You have to learn how to talk to people first, and then you have to learn how to perform the phase one, which is asking about their problem, making them speak about the problem. Then they will be much more open to discussing revenue numbers with you, right? And some people will just straight up tell you that they do not want to discuss their revenue, and that's fine. But there are a few numbers that you'll still want to like get from them. So the first thing is like current top line rev, right? Current top line rev. So in my case, for example, I only try to work with clients who are doing at least 500K a year. And this is because I like working with clients who already know what they're doing with and who already have good sales team, who can actually follow up with leads, or like have that speed to lead, and they're able to convert the leads that I give them, right? And if I keep giving them leads and their sales team is like completely shitty and they're not able to convert leads into actual business numbers, then it will be a complete waste of time, and that client will churn, and it will churn because of through no fault from you, right? You did not do anything wrong, you did all your stuff right. It's on their part that they do not have a dialed in sales team, and this is why they are not able to close the leads that you give them, or close the calls that you book them, right? If you're booking calls for your client instead of just giving them leads. So if you do that, then the client will churn. So in this phase, the revenue phase, the number two phase of the discovery, you want to understand that they have what it takes to close leads, right? Assuming that you can do the job. So current top line revenue, current number of clients. So some clients, okay, let me just list out everything before talking over the stuff. Current number of clients, current uh, let's not say deal, let's say LTV, so lifetime value of a client, and churn maybe. So some prospects on the discovery call will straight up refuse to tell you that this is the current revenue, top line revenue for them. So what you can do here is essentially ask them how many current clients they have. So let's say they say 5 clients, they have 5 clients right now, and let's say lifetime revenue of a client, they have to tell you this is 30K, right? So on average they are making around like um, or one more thing that I forgot to mention, you have to make sure that you know the deal size as well, right? So deal size could be like, let's say deal size is like 8K and the lifetime value of the client is like 30K, right? So if the deal size is 8K and they have 5 clients, they are making around 40K, right? 40K per month. And if they're making 40K per month and their lifetime value of a client is 30K and they have around like 5 clients, so the total revenue, like the total lifetime revenue they have right now is like around 150K, right? So this is how you get an idea as to whether this client, this prospect actually has a number that can actually work with what leads you generate them. So if they're doing, let's say 10K a month, they will not be able to have like a sales team. Most of the work will be done by the founder himself, and they will not have anybody closing leads for them, and the founder will literally complain that you are not giving them good leads when he's not able to do the work to close those leads or follow up with leads, or do certain things that actually matter in order to close B2B deals. And B2B deals are hard. It's not B2C where you give them a link and they just close on the spot and they pay you on the spot. B2B sales cycles, it's called a sales cycle in B2B, and sales cycles always take time. Depending on the company, if you're talking to a Fortune 500 company, the sales cycles can be like 12 months. And if you're talking to a small business like a SMB, their cycle can be anywhere from 1 month to like, I don't know, 3 months or 6 months, even 6 months. And Fortune 500 can have like even 2 years or 24 months. Um, so depending on what kind of business you are actually working with, they will have a sales cycle, and the sales cycle is essentially telling you that they have a competent sales team. If a prospect is able to talk about that these are the clients that they have currently and how much time did it take to close them, you'll have an idea that their sales team is competent. So they will be able to use the leads that they give you to generate more revenue for their business. So they will be able to work on the leads, they will be able to follow up, close the leads, essentially talk to the leads properly. So you want to have these numbers, otherwise it will be very hard for you to understand whether you want to work with them or not. And since you have these numbers now, you can essentially go ahead and go to the third stage. And the third stage, let's go to green again. So the third stage is essentially urgency. So you want to know exactly, and I forgot to mention, but uh, you can have this be between like 5 to 10 minutes max. You do not want the prospect to go on a lengthy rant about their previous agencies or anything like that. You want to make sure that, and if they do go on a rant, you can ask like other questions like, what is it exactly that the previous agency did wrong? So they will come up with like 100 different things, poor communication, they were not talking to them every day, or they were not touching base with them, or they were not exactly giving them good leads, or they were wasting some kind of money, wasted ad spend, or anything that actually made them mad. So you'll have exactly what to cover next when you pitch, right? You can say that we do XYZ, which is completely different compared to your previous agency, and this is how you say that you're different than this guy. And since you're recording the call already, I did not say this at the beginning, but you have to record the call, right? You can use something like Fathom.ai. Oh, whoops. You can use a software like this, Fathom, or you can use Fireflies.ai. Okay, why do these people always have like different TLDs? Fireflies.ai. Okay. Um, these are the two most popular ways to record your calls. So whenever you join a particular call, you can just have these note takers there, and you can use any kind of AI. I can cover that in a different video. That you can have any kind of AI like a Claude agent or a Gemini agent or a Chat GPT to understand exactly what this client is looking for, and you have this kind of dialed in from the start. So you communicate better, or you say, you find out exactly what kind of cadence this client needs the communication to happen, or what kind of person this guy is and how do you have to deal with him. The way people answer your questions will be the way that you'll have to deal with the client for, like, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, however long you keep them. So you'll have to understand how to structure your negotiating, like your I don't know how to say this, like your social skills. You have to tweak, like you have to tweak your social skills, your ability to communicate with people, depending on the way, the kind of people you're like working with. It sounds very simple, but eh, whenever you are on a Zoom call or a Google Meet call, it's so different from a real life conversation that it doesn't happen naturally. So you have to train yourself a little bit. If you are gifted at this, if you already have so much experience that you can literally talk to anybody anytime, that's fine. But I would still tell you to, practice this over discovery calls, because this is exactly how I did it. And, like this is essential. So once you do that, like you'll have some kind of foundation to work with. So urgency is how how much important, how critical is it for them to solve this problem. So in my case, in our case, it's like a AI lead gen. So how critical is it for them to have like predictable source of leads every single month or every single week, or stuff like that, like a predictable source of calls on their calendar, on their sales team's calendar, on the founder's calendar, so, and so on. How critical is it for them to solve this problem? And their answer will be anywhere from, you know excuse me, 6 months, or like 1 week or 2 weeks or next month. And depending on this, you can transition the call and understand exactly if this client will be ready to buy at the end of the call, or you'll want to go to another call to actually have more decision makers, or things like that, you know. So how critical is it for them to solve this problem, and how many um, leads do they want in? So this stage is essentially like two-phased stage: urgency plus goals. You have to understand the urgency behind them booking a call, and you have to understand their goals as well. If you do not do either of these, it will be very hard to go into the fourth stage. So it's like every one of these stages in the discovery process are linked, and you cannot jump to the third stage without completing one and two. And once you do one and two, the third stage is urgency and goals. So how critical is it for them to solve this immediately? And how many leads do they want in, let's say, per month or per week? Once you have this information, you can judge as to like what it will take from your end to fulfill for this client. You'll have that number immediately in the back of your mind if you know what you're doing, right? So how critical is it? So let's say the client says that I need to solve this in the next 2 weeks, and they say that they want 20 leads a month, or maybe they say like one lead. Okay, let's not erase this. One lead per day, so they need 30 leads a month. So depending on how much volume they're looking for and how urgent it is for them to do this, you can basically modify the offer in your mind, the way that you'll be pitching in the next stage. You can modify all of this to make sure that you cater to exactly these problems, solving exactly these problems. You have to make sure that your solution is exactly solving this problem. Otherwise, it will be very hard to convince the client to actually, you know, sign up with you, because there's like 100 different vendors who will try to take their money anyway. And these people receive so many cold emails on a daily basis that it's kind of impossible for them to understand what's like. If they're on a call, you're already doing something right, you know. So you have to have that confidence that you know what you're talking about, and if you can fulfill this, you'll just tell that to them upfront. And the next question when they say this is, so these are the two things that you want to know immediately after. You want to know these two things, so urgency and goals. The next thing is, and I'll mark this in red. Oh gosh. Okay. The next thing is, okay, once you have these numbers with you, right now, once you have these numbers, you can tell them, you can ask them that if I were able to give you this one lead per day on a, or whatever the goal is, you know, consistent basis, would you be able to handle it? Or essentially, you're looking for the close rate. So, how many leads will you be able to close, and how many clients would you want in the next 90 days? Let's say you're running a lead generation sprint. Um, so if you want one lead per day on a consistent basis, how many would you be able to close, or how many would you be able to handle? And this will actually prompt them to talk about their, you know, their own sales process, their sales team, or their own founder. If it's founder led sales, then it will help them talk to you about. And by this time, you've already built rapport with the prospect, you know. You've done about like 20 minutes of discovery, so you already have some idea. And so once you do this, you'll know that the founder will be more willing to trust you about their company's internal processes, you know. So they'll be happy to talk to you about sales processes, their, if there's a sales team or not, if there's a founder-led sales, if there's something else. I don't know if they have like their software developer closing leads or something like that. So you'll have an idea of how much they will be able to close. So, you know, 20 leads a month could mean like they're able to close like 10%, so they'll have two clients per month. And that may be great, because if their per client deal size is like 20K, they'll be making 40K in 30 days of working with you. So that's great, you know. And if their deal size is like 20K, let's say 20K, and they close like 4 clients, so it's like 20% close rate, they'll be making 80K, right? So it depends on exactly. So once you have these numbers, you'll have to ask them if they'll be able to handle it on their end. Assuming that you were able to provide it, will they be able to handle it? This is done. This is the third step. They'll be able to understand, you'll be able to understand exactly what they want, how much they want, whether they'll be able to handle it. You will know in your mind whether you will be able to provide this to them on a consistent basis. The final stage that I'll say is, let's just have it in black. Okay, I did not change the other colors. Thank goodness. I'm just irritated whenever it changes colors without asking me. It's just a quirk of Excalibur. Anyway, the fourth part is essentially, transitioning into a pitch or second call. So I like to do either a pitch or proposal, or a second call. So you'll have to ask this person. So assuming your discovery is around 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, you'll be able to ask them whether they want to understand exactly how they work. So you'll tell them that, after understanding everything that they've uh, told you about your business, after crunching the numbers in their head, and like actually going through that in your head and understanding that this is a good client, this could be a good client, you'll be able to understand that, yes, I want to help this guy. Let's transition into either a pitch, proposal, or a second call. So you'll have to ask them that, are you the only decision maker? And most of the time they'll say yes or no. Like it's literally a yes or no question. And if they are able to make that decision, and you can ask them whether they want to make a decision today by learning all about your agency's processes. So you can ask them that, do they have like 15-20 minutes ahead, like 15-20 minutes extra today, so that you can go over exactly what you will provide. And this will be like a complete sales strategy to actually pitch them, essentially, like make them believe that this is exactly what you're providing is exactly going to solve their problem. And assuming that you've already modified your pitch in your brain, and you're able to understand that, okay, these are the problems I need to talk about, these are the solutions I need to tell them, and this is how they'll believe me, and this is how they'll trust me, and this is how they'll pay me, right? um so transitioning into a pitch, proposal, or second call, are you the only decision maker? It's a yes or no question. If it's a no, you want the decision makers, right? So you'll have to do a second call anyway. If yes, if no, sorry. So you'll have to do a second call anyway if they are not the sole decision maker. If there's like three different people, and it's gonna be the case for bigger companies, right? You'll have to do a second call. And if they are the sole decision maker, which I'm guessing is like true for less like smaller companies, if it's like one founder company or a co-founder company, and one guy is doing just the CTO work, or the other guy is doing the actual sales and the growth of the agency, or the business, you can have that as well. So if they have the time, you can essentially do two things: go into the pitch, go into, I don't want to say that it's a pitch. You can say that, go into detail about your offer. That sounds better. Yeah, it does sound better in my brain, because and I think I'm able to convey a little bit more if I frame it as an offer instead of a pitch. You're not selling them something just out of greed or something like worse. You're selling them something to solve their problem, and you have to make sure that you convey this properly. So go into detail about your offer. So tell them exactly what they want. So they have told you, right, what they want, right? Like 20 leads a month, 30 leads a month, whatever. So you'll go into that offer, and you'll say exactly how you'll do it, exactly the timeline. So you don't have to go into, you'll buy these many domains or these many inboxes, or like what, you'll run these many ads. You don't have to do that. You will go into the timeline. So this is how week one will look like. So let's say week one is onboarding. Excuse me. Week one is onboarding, and like audit or stuff like that, and then week two is offer build, or buying, or setting up infra or funnel, anything of the sort, anything that pertains to the exact service you're providing, right? Then week three, so you get the idea, right? This is how you convey that this is the timeline of what it will look like when, if they sign up to work with you today, right? So essentially, this is how you sell them, and then you talk about the price. You don't want to frame it as a price. You want to frame it as an investment. Obviously, that's like a very noob guide, but okay, how do I forget it? Okay, let me just make it green, and it turned everything green. Perfect. Yeah, I'll have to learn this on my own sometime, but yeah, like. You don't have to make you have to make sure that they understand the clear ROI. So in terms of investment, one good thing I want to note here is that the ROI needs to be clear. So if they're investing like $1 with you, they need to get like anywhere from $5 to $10 back. So if they're spending $1,000 on you, they'll have to make like $10,000 back. If you want to keep working with them for 12 months, like long term. If you don't convey this properly, you're not going to close. So and if you're doing this on a second call, you'll have way more time to do this. So you can obviously do it with more preparation before the call, if you do it in a second call. So obviously it depends on exactly what you want to do, if you want to close them on a first call or not. And like I said, like if these people were yes, um, if they want to get it solved today, like if they're telling you that they want this problem solved immediately, you can literally just like ride that wave of urgency and sell them immediately. Or you can transition it into some kind of second call, or another thing, like um, a call, like a pitch call, or a demo call, or a ROI call, or setup call. You can even frame it as an onboarding call. You can even frame it as an onboarding call itself. So you will be talking about your agency's processes and how it's gonna work with them, the exact timeline and everything. But you can frame it as an onboarding call. So you can frame that your this prospect is closed already. It's like a psychological tactic that you can use to make sure that these guys actually do like have enter into a frame of mind that makes them more ready to buy. If And it only works if you know how to do it properly and they have the urgency. If they want to solve this 6 months from now, this call is essentially like a waste of time, like complete waste of time. And unless your agency's buying process is 6 months, you do not want to be conversing with these people for like 6 months, right? So it depends on the exact client, but in normal cases, you won't be talking to people who want their problem solved 6 months from now. So assuming that's not the case, you can exactly convey the ROI, and that's how you close. So going into an overview, these are the 4 steps that I wanted to talk about. Any questions, let me know. Hopefully this video was helpful, and thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely day, and yeah, let me know if you want any help with any of this. Just book a call below and I'll be happy to help out. That call is free, strategy call is free. And this is the exact discovery process that I do for my clients and anybody I work with, whether it's for B2B lead generation or helping somebody else uh, set up their agency. So this is exactly how I try to teach and do it, and I'm not hidden anything here. There's a few nuances about the revenue state of the business. For example, this part, exactly what questions to ask and how to handle objections as to when they don't want to share numbers, and how you have to convey to them that you have to know these numbers in order to propose a reasonable solution, and urgency and goals as well. So making sure that you can handle objections could be like another part of the video. So hopefully this was helpful. Just book a call if you need any help with me and my team. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye.